Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and we are in the mortgage syndicate this morning. And I am so glad that you're here with us today. We've got some very good information for you. I'm putting some things on up in Clubhouse right now, and we're going to add that link. There we go. And so now we're going to pull that down. All right, good. So folks, go ahead and start sharing the room. We had a very good session last time, and we're just continuing this session, telling people the truth about lending, truth about your money. Right now, people are out there searching for information. Do you know, for the last 16 years, people have been telling me basically the same thing. Don, we were looking for, searching for, even praying for a better way to handle our finances. We knew that there was something going on. We knew that someone was in charge of our finances, and it wasn't us. We want to take our power back. We want to be able to take the wealth that we're creating and use it for our family instead of handing it over to someone else. But, paying on these loans forever is just handing over finances, handing over our money to someone else. So we want to make sure, good morning, Jeremiah. We want to make sure that people understand totally what's going on here behind the scenes. And we're going to be pointing out some things today, folks, some things that help keep the powers that be in power, in control of our money, even though we have been told that these things are the best practices to keep our money in house. Well, listen, if you've ever felt that, if you've ever felt that you need a better way to handle your finances, if you've ever felt that something was going on that you didn't quite understand, if you ever felt funny about looking at your statements and seeing how much of your money was going out in interest and so little going to principal, if you ever felt like, I'm using this tool, this loan, but I don't quite understand it. If you've ever felt that way, the P.I.L.L method is going to be a good home for you. So if you're searching, if you've been looking, and I'm going to put some terms up today. I'm going to talk about some terms. So if you've been looking for a better way, this is it. So I need you to come to the stage this morning, raise your hand, come on up to the stage, and let's talk about it. I've talked to people who have refinanced their homes thinking that it was a better way and found out I'm still not paying off my house faster or cheaper. They have rolled in higher interest debt to their mortgage, and they have lowered their overall payments, but they're still in debt way too long. It's not doing what they thought it would do. They refinanced to a lower interest rate, and they were glad to get it. Their payments have been reduced. But for some reason, it still just doesn't feel right. Well, there's a reason for it, folks. We've been given some solutions, but the solutions aren't for us. The solutions that we've been given that feel like they should be doing better for us actually make the banks more money. And anybody here want to make the bank more money? If you do not want to make the bank more money, if you do not want to make the bank more money, put a no in the chat. Come on, put a no in there. Be the first ones to put something in the chat. Let's put a no in the chat. Let's level up today And so I'll be the first one. I do not want to give more money to the bank. Now, I'm telling you, I like the bank. I like what they have. I'm not anti-bank. I'm telling you right now, because I'll be the first one in line, the first one in line to borrow some of their money. Do you know why? Because once you know the rules to the game, you can save money. So what is the purpose? What is one of the reasons for the why the P.I.L.L method exists? Well, let's talk about the P.I.L.L method. P-I-L-L. P stands for prepayment of principal. Then isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. And for the past 16 years, folks, we've been telling people how all of this works in your favor when you understand the lending process, how to become a lender instead of a borrower. And listen, let me tell you something about all of the information that's out there right now. Because I was listening to Miss Susie Orman, I've been listening to Dave Ramsey, I've been listening to other folks online, and what they say sounds good. But if you do it in the wrong sequence, if you do it in the wrong way, you will not. When it comes to lending, you won't focus in the right area. And by not focusing in the right area, it's going to cause a problem. So raise your hand, come up to the stage, and let's talk about it a little more. Could I get a few people to share what's going on? Stephanie Rice, how are you doing, sir? Ma'am, Stephanie Rice, how are you doing, ma'am? She is watching us from YouTube this morning. All right, and we have a few people here on Clubhouse. Thank you very much for being here. I see Jackie and Lita and Blaine. I see CP in here, and Yanette and Steve and Alexander and Jesse. Jesse Real, listen, man, you've been all over the place. So I'm glad that you're here today. And Andrea and Art and Ivory, you all are here this morning. Will you please? Can I ask you to share the room? So go down and click that little button that says with the arrow coming out of the square there, and let's share the room on Clubhouse and on other places. So I'm going to put a few fire and gem emojis in here and say, listen, this is the place to be. This is the place to get some good information. So anybody got a question about any of this today to get started before I put something on the screen? Okay. Thank you, folks, for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Anybody got any questions before I get started? All right. So as I put these things on the screen, folks, I want you to pay close attention, not only to just what we're saying, but why we're saying it, so that you can get your power back. You can be in control of your finances. So I'm going to start here, and listen, encourage other people to watch the replays, because the replays are on. Okay. So encourage other people to come, because they're going to come in later. All right. As we go along, as you keep sharing, we're going to learn more, and more people are going to come in, but they won't get this part. Well, you can share it with them and let them know. When people start asking, how can I see what's going on? You tell them. You go to ice10k.com, click that link, and you can then see where we are broadcasting live. You can go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and watch us live. And all the links are there. So if you want to go to a secondary device like your tablet or your laptop, you can watch us and then listen to us on Clubhouse so that you can participate. Well, folks, let's go ahead and put something on the screen and go ahead and get started. I want you to see what we have here, and here we go. I want to thank Kurt Nugent by the way, to come in here. And Kurt, listen, if you're available this morning, let me know if you can say something to the folks, because everybody gets to see how good this looks online, and you are responsible for getting us up and running. Not only are responsible for getting it online, okay? I need you to look up Kurt Nugent, because if you Google him, you're going to see that he has a lot of content out there. And he's not only responsible for making sure you get to see this content and the way it appears online, he actually put together the studio. Oh my goodness. The guy is multi-talented. And he's on our team. Oh, we're so fortunate to have Kurt Nugent with us this morning. So Kurt, anytime you're ready, please unmic and just jump in there and say something to the folks, because there may be somebody out there that may want to do what I'm doing. They have a message to share, and doing live streaming is a way to share it, folks. All right, so here's what we got, folks: how to pay off mortgages and other debt in about 7 years. And so when we're going to go through this, and we're going to step by step bring up certain points that people have been we have been deceived on by thinking that the information we received was good information, but we're going to be debunking a lot of stuff this morning. Watch this. So, first of all, you need to understand that this is the P.I.L.L Method Club, and we are broadcasting this morning from the mortgage syndicate, and we want to thank Jonathan Bing and everybody who is there to, sharing their club with us this morning. And we're on Clubhouse this morning. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube, and we're on Twitter. So if you want to see these examples, please go right ahead. All right. Oh, look at you, Credit Goddess. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you're here. That's how I am.
Yes.
That's how I am. I'm grateful. So
happy. Yes.
Yes. So
I'm grateful for you having me.
Oh, listen, tell us who you are and what you do. I'm going to take a pause here for the cause.
Sure. Hey, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is the beginning of the week. I hope it is starting off well, and I hope for every one of you guys have a prosperous week this week and for the remaining month, actually. My name is Rose Delora Lewis, also known as Credit Goddess. I am all things credit. I am a credit score improvement strategist. So not only do I help my clients repair their credit, but through education, I help them optimize and improve their credit so that way they can be in a position that lenders want them to be. I'm also a business credit consultant. I help entrepreneurs, business owners, investors establish business credit so that way they can gain access to capital, leveraging their business credit and their business capital and cash flow. And then they can also grow and scale into corporate credit level. I'm also an educator at B.RRRR University. And alongside with that, NAV business loan broker. So when I say I'm all things credit, I'm all things credit. Creditors love working with me, and lenders love working with me because I understand how the credit report needs to look. So it's more than just the credit scores, about the consumer reports, about your financial resume. So if that is what you need, if you need a better understanding of what your financial resume needs to look like, so that way you can qualify, always get approved and never denied, definitely tap in with me. The number is in my bio, where you can send your name and email address to 888-557-5778. Again, that's 888-557-5778. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Credit Goddess, for being here. Rosa Laura Lewis, folks. Tap in with her if you want to improve your credit score, you want to improve your credit profile, which is even more important, then definitely tap in with her. How do I know? Because she's helping me improve my credit profile. And my credit profile was pretty strong. All right.
It's strong.
Yeah, but still, all right.
Still.
But we can always do better, right?
Exactly.
And do I have the time or the expertise to do it?
No, you don't.
I do not.
It is time consuming. It's not something that's that simple. It's simple, but then it's not simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would much rather have somebody who's an expert get this done for me. And thank you for coming on board with us and being on the team. I see Brenda and Jonathan in here this morning. Good morning, folks. It's good to see you. Oh, we got a few more folks in the room. So, folks, we got 27 people in here right now. Okay. Oh my goodness. Why is somebody trying to call me? I don't get it. They know better than to try to call me. Probably one of those scam calls anyway. So folks, we have 27 people in here. We have 5 shares. Continue to share. And if you want to see, I've got something on the screen right now. So if you want to see it, you can go to click on the link up above, and then you can go straight there and watch it from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you want to participate on Clubhouse, you can do that as well. Just go to a secondary device and put the link in there. All right. Just go to YouTube or Facebook. But once you get there, folks, go ahead and subscribe or follow. Make sure you like the video and make sure you share the video out and comment. Okay, because these things help to get the information out. So if you want to see what we've got going on, please go to the link up above, click my 10K card, and you will see a link that says watch us live. All right, and get the information there. All right, so folks, here we go. I've got my QR code. So go ahead and take a picture of that. Bring up your camera app and scan the QR code so you can have my digital card on your phone. You can have that there. Okay. So now moving on. Don't forget ice10k.com. You can find everything about us at ice10k.com. You can go to PILLmethod.com, which is our website. And by the way, when you get a chance, Google Pill Method. You'll find out that we are so popular. Birth control is on page 2. So Google Pill Method, and you'll find some very good information out about us. Okay. Now, well, of course, we've got to talk about the book that made it all possible for us to help get the message out. And you'll find it on Amazon. So find the book on Amazon, get the book on Amazon. And when you buy the book, send me a screenshot of your receipt to my Instagram. Okay. If you get that book today and send me a screenshot of your receipt, I will make sure you get a 10K card worth $100, a digital business card worth $100. Okay. Go ahead and do that. All right. Now, let's go ahead and make sure you get the book, because out of 33 million titles, this is the only one that goes over this information, that gives you the basics of giving you your power back. Somebody is in control of our money. And folks, it ain't us. Okay. Somebody's making a lot of money from our money, and it ain't us. So how can we get our power back? How can we take our money and stop giving it away in interest and do something about building up our generational wealth, building up wealth for our families with money that we used to pay out in interest? How would you like to cut your interest cost by 75%? Take control of your loans. Okay. Borrow money at a discount. Disrupt the bank's timing of their way of charging you interest, and say, listen, I'm taking control of this thing. I don't want to refinance. I don't want to have to go out and make more money. I don't want to decrease my lifestyle. I want to live well, but I need to borrow the bank's money at a discount. Well, we're going to be going over some of those things today, so you can bring back control of your family's finances in-house. Stop giving it away. All right. So get the book, folks. Get the book. All right, here we go. 90% of the people with a mortgage will never own their home free and clear. 90%. Okay? Think about it. 90% of the people you know will never own a home. Why? Because of everybody you know that's ever had a mortgage, less than 10% of the people you know actually paid one off. That's a problem with that. Okay? All right. So, we're going to do this without refinancing, without change to your budget, and without sacrificing lifestyle. You don't have to make more money to get out of debt. You just need to pay less interest. Okay? And you don't have to sacrifice lifestyle. You can live well while you're doing it. I mean, who here today wants to have a great lifestyle and take control of their finances and get out of debt? If that's you, put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat. Okay. All right. So, all right. So let me see here. So, folks, I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. And let's see here. Okay. All right. And we're going to delete that message because that's not a good message. We don't want that message in here. So it's gone. All right. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. All right. So we got some number 9s in the chat. All right, folks, here we go. All right. So I want to live well. All right. You will not get this information from your accountant. You won't get it from your financial planner. You won't get it from your banker because it's not taught anywhere. It's not taught anywhere. That's why you don't know it. That's why your accountant doesn't know it. That's why your financial planner doesn't know it. That's why your banker does not know how to take control of your finances in this way. This is why we focus on interest rate. This is why we focus on trying to put large down payments down. This is why we focus on how to refinance and to lower our payments and to get 15-year mortgages instead of 30-year mortgages. All of those things help the bank. Every single thing that you have been taught about how to manage your money and manage it well, most of it is absolute garbage. It helps the bank and not you. If you want to test anything that you've ever learned about how finances work, come to the stage, share it, and we'll put it to the test. Okay? We'll stop what we're doing and put your example to the test so that you can know what's getting ready to happen. If you're getting ready to make a financial move and you want to test your theory, if you or somebody has given you some advice, bring your advice to the stage and we'll show you where the bank is making money from that advice, and we'll give you some new information that is designed to help you. All right? So here we go, folks. Here, you will not hear what we're talking about today from these financial gurus because I own the copyright. That's why. Okay. Dave Ramsey. You won't hear it from Dave Ramsey because he's got his own information. Susie Orman, she has her own information. So you will not hear what we're talking about today from Dave or Susie. You won't get it from Gene Chatsky on NBC. You won't get it from Larry Burkett. You will not get this information anywhere else except here from the P.I.L.L method. And why? The ability to read and defeat an amortization schedule is not taught at any level of financial education. Folks, there are people in here right now that are real estate agents, loan officers. Some people may be bookkeepers or accountants. But none of this about how to understand how loans work has ever been taught to get their license. And we've got to wonder why that is. All right. So here's what we need to understand. Here's what I want you to see. P.I.L.L Method International, LLC. And P.I.L.L Method stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amounts, leverage, and liquidity. It was Albert Einstein who said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Do you realize that when it comes to mortgages, that's not compound interest? That's amortized interest. So, if compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, amortized interest must be the ninth because it is more powerful. It makes way more money. Banks make amortized interest so that they can pay us compound interest. Mm. And when you do compound interest right, folks, it makes a lot of money for us. But guess what? Amortized interest makes even more. You got to be a bank to get that. You make yourself the bank. There are ways for you to receive amortized interest. Did you know that? Did you know that if you sold a house, you don't have to get a mortgage company? You can finance that yourself and set up an amortization schedule so people can pay you amortized interest. Oh yeah, it's legal. You can do that and make a ton of money. All right. Especially if you have several houses that you want to sell. Oh my goodness, you can set that up so you're set for the next 30 years. Good information. Good information. Do you see this formula on the screen? This is the formula that amortizes your loan. I don't understand it. I just know it makes a lot of money. Okay. So let's kind of figure out what we can do to use the bank system and turn it around for our good. Okay, here we go. Let's turn it around for our good. All right, here's the bank has an algorithm or a formula to make money. Where is our formula? Not to give them that money. So here is the first thing that we're going to learn today. The bank lending us money is making way more money than we need to pay. How can we keep from paying it? Okay. So, Credit Goddess, I got a question for you today. We need to be in a good position to get money from the bank. Can you give us some information on some of the things that people commonly believe on how to get money from the bank, but it's not necessarily true? Can you give us some insight onto that?
Ooh, a lot of people believe that the higher the credit score, that they will get approved
What?
automatically. And
Wait a minute.
huh?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I always believe that. I
No,
listen. I'm trying to get to that 850 credit score.
no. Even someone with an 850 credit score can get denied.
Oh, folks, listen, if you want to know how a person with an 850 credit score, because we're talking about going to the bank to get money, but if you want to know how a person with an 850 credit score can get denied a loan, I need you to put a number 8 in the chat. Come on. What are the number 8s? Put a number 8 if you want to know how a person with an 850 credit score can get denied on a loan. Put an 8 in the chat so that Credit Goddess can break this down to you right now. Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Credit Goddess. Talk to us.
Okay. So when I say that it's not about the credit score, it's about the content, it's about the data. And then two, we have to also take in consideration the lender's requirements, the credit card companies' requirements, the creditors' requirements. They all have different requirements. So if you want to know exactly how to get approved, it's always best to call them. You don't want to just rely on, myself to give you the information. The information can change, right? But what I can say is that you want to make sure that you hit the 5 data points. say the 5 categories is making sure that your payments are on time or paid on time. And even someone with a negative account can have a high credit score. That negative account, if it was like over 2 years old, still can get approved because you've made 24 on-time payments. They're not looking at the late payment from 2 years ago or 5 years ago, right? If they can see consistency, that alone would get you approved. So when people focus so much on the score in itself and not the content, a lot of times we put ourselves in positions where we get disappointed. Now, I'm going to give you 2 examples. So let's say we have a 19-year-old. We have a 19-year-old that have a 740 credit score. And that 19-year-old, just started de-adulting at 18. They only have 1 year in the adulting stage where they can go and get their own credit. They can go get their own car. They have a job now and things like that. And they were piggybacking off of their mother's credit card. That credit card, she added them on, has 10 years on it. And that child is 19 with a 10-year authorized user account to boost up their score to the 740, because what that child have acquired is all of his mother's data, her 10 years of history, her on-time payments, right? 120 on-time payments because it's 10 years old, the utilization, and it has contributed to the types of accounts, because on the category that makes up the types of accounts about 10%, 55 points. So this child have acquired points from these categories: on-time payments, utilization, length of credit history, and the types of accounts that boost their score up to 740, or say 750, right? And then you have a 30-year-old, single mom, and she works. She's been working at this job since she was 18, so that's 12 years in. She has good income coming in. She has student loans that are on time, even though they're on deferment, but it's never been late. She's been staying on top of that, making sure that she goes on deferment and not have any lates. So she have about 10 student loans, right? So it has 12 years in it already. And then she has 3 credit cards with low utilization, and the length of history on those credit cards about 5 years old. She got them when she was 25. Who do you think? And her credit score is a 682. The 19-year-old is a 740. Who do you think the bank is going to lend money to?
The person with the higher credit score, of course.
No,
No?
no.
Why not?
They're
Why,
going to
why
lend
not?
because he's only piggybacking off his mother. He doesn't have credit of his own. He's 19 years old. There's not an Because he's 19 years old, he's only a year in. He doesn't have a solid job, right? He just started this job a year ago when he turned 18, and he's piggybacking off his mother. When you have the 30-year-old that have student loans, 10 student loans that's paid on time, 3 credit cards that's 5 years old, and she has a good job, they're going to give her the loan. They're going to approve her because she has a solid credit profile. Solid.
Okay.
It's 12 years, right? As opposed to the 19-year-old that has a 740 with no credit. Now, he has no experience of his own. He's just piggybacking off his mother. So when I say it's not about the credit score is just the data. He's acquired all her data, but when a creditor and a lender open up the credit profile and they see the story tells that he doesn't have any experience. So when I say credit score is like the book cover, never judge a book by its cover, right? I never judge anybody by their credit score. I opened up the credit profile, the consumer report, or the consumer file, and I look to see if they have any experience. And I know what lenders and creditors are looking for based on your financial resume. He doesn't have enough experience, so he will get denied.
Oh, thank you for that. So, folks, listen. So today we're going over beware of internet financial advice. And I'm telling you, I have heard that you want to get that credit score up. And we just found out that credit score isn't everything is cracked up to be. You need a great credit profile fully filled out. And so when you're filling out that credit profile, credit guys, can you spend about, 30 or 60 seconds and telling us just some of what makes up a great credit profile? What are the elements?
The elements are there's 5 categories. I'll just run through them. Is on-time payments. That makes up 35% of your score. Half of that 35% is about 17% of on-time payments, and 17% can be a mix of, late payments, collections, and things like that. So when you're hiring someone for credit repair, we're only touching that 17%, which is why I add the education in my services, because I have to teach you how to, one, make sure that you make your payments on time, whether we're going to set it on auto pay, or we're going to teach you how to pay before the billing cycle and things like that. So that way it can reflect a lower utilization, which makes up the 30%. That makes up 165 points. So if you're maxed out on your credit cards, you can lose points in that category. So you just have to know when to pay your balance down, so that way you can maximize this 30%. Then we're talking about the 15%, which makes up the length of credit, how long you've had credit for, and that's 82.5 points. And to get all 82.5 points, you need an average 12 years. And now our scores will go up and down every time we apply for a new card, every time we apply for a new credit, because that average age will recalculate based on a new account that's just been added, against the oldest account, and it will give you an average. So it's always going to go up and down, right? Which is why I tell people, don't score watch, because it's going to drive you crazy, especially when you're building. And then we talk about the 10%, which is the types of credit. You want to diversify your credit profile to show how experienced you are in managing credit cards, loans, and a mortgage. So to get all 55 points in this category, you need about 21 plus accounts, and it doesn't have to be open. It can be closed. It can be closed auto loans. It can be closed personal loans, paid off student loans, all that accumulates. You need about 21 plus accounts to get all 55 points in this category. And then last but not least, new accounts. The less inquiries you have, the more points you will gain, and that's 55 points together. So if we add the 192 plus the 165 plus the 82.5, the 55 and the 55 on top of the 300, which is the lowest credit score you can get, that gives you the perfect 850 credit score. So that takes work. It takes work and it takes time. You can't rush a high credit score. But what you can do is focus on building, focus on gaining experience. And that is, you need a minimum 3 credit cards. If you only have one, you need a minimum 3 to jumpstart your credit, right? So it can be credit cards from your bank. I prefer that, because when you're trying to tap into business credit, for those that want to tap into business credit, you need to have a major credit card reporting on your credit. So you need one at least, or two, or all, right? It could be an American Express, a Chase, a Citi card, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, even your local banks or a credit union. Those are major banks instead of, a no-name kind of a card. And then you need 3 of those. Ideally, you want to be between 5 to 7 credit cards, right? That will put you in a 700 credit score range. All right. Low utilization, you want to be between 1 to 9%. I know you guys hear 30% out in these internet streets, but you just know that the more utilization, the more points you lose. So the less, the better. So credit cards are not meant for you to max out. So for those that are afraid to get a credit card, don't be afraid, because they actually score you based on how much of available credit you have left. Okay. Then next, you want to keep your accounts open. Closing out your accounts will lose points because you have closed out, especially loans. Believe it or not, paying off a loan like an auto loan, student loans, any type of loan, it will drop your score because there's nothing to report after that. It expired. So you need to replace it with a new account. Now, credit cards, I love because the longer you keep it open, the longer it stays on your account. That is one of the longest standing credit tool that you can have, because you can keep that open 50 years and it will never affect your credit as opposed to a loan. So you want to keep those accounts open, never close them unless you're going to replace it with another. And then you want to diversify your credit profile. You need about 10 minimum, 10 to 15. But if you get it to 21 and plus, that's great. I've seen people with 48 accounts, and sometimes half of that is student loans. And it's not an eyesore, you guys. This actually helps you when you're trying to tap into business credit too, especially getting funding on the business side. They look for comparable trade lines. And what that means is that if you're trying to borrow $100,000 and you have $100,000 student loans, there are banks out there that will actually give you the funding because someone trusted you with $100,000. So never look at your student loans as an eyesore, right? And then you want to have less inquiries. So no more than one. Okay. So you want to do it in moderation. You don't want to do so much at one time. And if you are, let those age out before you go and apply for another card. Like let it age out to 6 months or a year or even 2 years. But you want to build when you're getting into the credit space, you're building relationships, you're building credibility within yourself. So I want you guys to focus on that. It's not damaging to your credit when you're applying, but what's damaging is when you're late, when you're not meeting the obligation, when you're not meeting the contract. That's when it affects your score. But as long as you do your part, which is pay them people back, that's all that matters. And paying off the obligation if you have loans and things like that. So the root of all of this to keep a good credit, to keep a good credit profile, get in touch with your money. A lot of us do not have good relationships with our money. That is the root of it, right? That's the opposite of credit, when you have to pay everything on debit, right? So credit, all it is just that you're delaying payments. So make sure that you have good money management, and that way you know how to manage your credit, because credit just delays the payment. You're asking them, can I pay you back later? And just pay them back later. So let's get on top of our money, and then we can get on top of our credit. So I yield the mic. I'm Credit Goddess.
Thank you, Credit Goddess. Listen, folks, that's what we're talking about today. That awful internet advice we're getting, and we need to be able to, when we apply for a loan, we want to be able to get approved for that loan. And she's going to put you in a better position to be approved. Now, why do we want to use credit instead of our cash? We want to use somebody else's money so that we can invest our money. Listen to this. I'm going to give you an example of somebody who's very successful in borrowing money. Now, there are people out there that tell you that credit cards are the devil. Borrowing money is wrong. Okay. Now, let's take somebody in your community that's very successful in borrowing money. Yeah, are you ready? All right, here we go. Your banks downtown, wherever you live, are the biggest borrowers in town. Okay? They borrow our money, they leverage our money or lend it out. And then, folks, what they do is they make a lot of money with lending out our money and then pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of it. So, what are we doing here? How are we understanding how all of this works? We want to be able to leverage somebody else's money so we can put our money to work. If you are spending your cash, you can also invest your cash. You can't do both. You gotta do one or the other. So if I'm going to pay cash for my house, or if I have $300, $400, $500,000, and if I pay cash for my house, guess what? I can't also invest that $500,000. I would much rather learn how to borrow the bank's money, purchase my house, pay the bank 75% less interest than they're looking for, get my equity faster and cheaper while I invest my $500,000 elsewhere, in a way that I have been taught to do, or work with some professionals that can help me to invest that money. you're going to be way better off leveraging somebody else's money instead of paying cash, folks. Cash is not king in this society. Mm-mm. A wise use of somebody else's money. And the banks prove that out every single day. So thank you very much, Credit Goddess. We're moving on. So what other bad information are we getting out there these days when it comes to finances? Because today, folks, we're talking about beware of internet financial advice. It can hurt you. Here's something I want to share with you. If you're watching this on screen, if you're new to the room, go to my link up above and find out where you can see us online live right now. So click the link and you'll see watch us live, and you'll see links to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And then you can also go there and then search us out, P.I.L.L Method, and you'll see us live. All right. So here's what bank owners do not want you to know. All right. Bank owners don't want you to know this. Here we go. Amortized interest is actually quite deceptive. Amortized interest is deceptive, and here's why. Okay. Because it causes us to think one thing when another thing is happening. The interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. Okay, so Credit Goddess gave us one portion. Okay, now we're going to get into, once we get the loan, the interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. What does that mean? Watch this. Here's a $500,000 mortgage I have on the screen right now. The interest rate is only 3%. And right now, people will give their left arm for a 3% interest rate. Okay. All right. And then, but here's the total interest paid on this loan over 30-year period. $258,887.20. $258,000 in interest on a $500,000 loan. Folks, does that sound like 3% to you? Does 258,000 sound like 3% of 500,000? If it does not, please put a no in the chat. Put a no in the chat right now. If 258,000 does not sound like 3% of 500,000. Nope. Juju says nope. Does not sound like it at all. All right. So let's find out what's going on. Shante says no. Okay. Credit Goddess says nope. All right. We've got people online doing the same thing. All right. Jones says, Jonathan Jones, Brenda Jackson says no. And Lisi says no. Okay. What is going on here? So when we pay that loan back over 30 years, guess what? It's $758,000 the bank wants. Folks, we are getting, there's so much fallacy around this thing right now. Right now, the people are saying a 3% loan is a cheap loan. Have you heard that? Why pay off a cheap loan? Does $258,000 sound like a cheap loan to you? No way. That's why we need to focus on interest cost, and we need to be aware of interest cost. So what is that percentage rate really? Okay. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 51.777%. So all 3% loans for 30 years are 51% loans, almost 52%. All 3% loans. So why have we been told over the years, why are people out there telling us that these are cheap loans? Why is that? Now, it sounds good to say a 3% loan is a cheap loan, because when we try to do 3% of $500,000, it comes out to a different number than an amortized loan, which is $258,000. All right. So we got Kurt in the building. Kurt the Bank Barnes. How you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, good morning, Don. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, sir. So, Lee, I see you up on the stage. Did you have a question or comment for us this morning?
Good morning, Ice. It's Lisi. Hi, everyone. No, I don't have a question. Credit Goddess pulled me up, and I always get excited when we talk about attacking payments directly toward principal. So just listening and here for support. Let me know if you would like me to encourage anyone on anything.
Ooh, thank you very much. So listen, if you're a friend of Rose's, guess what? You're a friend of mine. All right, Kirk the Bank Barnes. Listen, Kirk, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell the folks who you are and what you do, please.
Hey, sure, Don. Hopefully you could hear me. My background's a little bit loud, but I'm Kurt the Bank Bones. I'm a commercial loan broker, also short-term rental operating bond holding investor in New York, and I'm also on Don's program. Thanks, Don.
Thank you very much, Kirk. All right, man. Listen, do your thing. Do your thing. Hermione. I always have a problem pronouncing that name. Hermione. All right. Good morning this morning. How are you?
Happy Sunday, everyone. How you have problem pronouncing my name? It's not
I know.
your money. It's her money.
It's Hermione. I love that. I love that.
Always. So I
What?
just want to say good morning to everyone. My sister Rose brought me on stage, and I love the topic that we are talking. I've been invested in real estate for a few years, but I do holding. I put my houses on rentals, and all the knowledge that you are dropping on spot. So I love it. So I'm just here taking note and to serve whenever there is a need for me.
Well, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Listen, I would listen, I love to moderate you, but listen, I can only moderate people who are following me. So you may not want to follow me. I don't know. So anyway, thank you very much for being here. Her money. All right. Listen, I'm going to remember that forever.
What do you mean? I follow you. You don't follow me.
Oh,
She's following you. Excuse me.
oh, listen. Listen. She has called me out, folks. Called me out. I'm not following, so I am right now. I'm following now. How about that? All right, following you. Okay. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you for being on the stage with us this morning. We appreciate you. All right. So, folks, listen, I want to get back into this right now. So if you want to see this, go to the social media platform that you like best, search P.I.L.L Method, and you'll be able to watch us live, okay? Because we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on Facebook right now, live. All right. So here we go. So let me take a look at that $500,000 now that we talked about at 3%. Okay, it's actually 51.777%. But if you borrow that same money at 4%, guess what? The bank wants $359,000. Now it's a 71.87% loan. What? Yeah, 71.87. $359,000 the bank wants in interest. These aren't low cost loans, folks. These are high cost loans. And there are people out there telling us right now that this is a low interest loan and you need to focus on other debt, which is high interest debt to take care of that first before you take care of this low interest debt. Well, let me tell you, that high interest debt could have a very low cost because your cost on the loan has to do with how much you borrow on that loan. So your interest cost, even though the interest rate may be high, okay, the interest cost could be quite low. So that's what you need to focus on right now. Somebody needs to do the math when it comes to these things. So here we go. And a 5% loan. Let's take a look at 5%. 5% on a $500,000 loan at 5%, $466,279 in interest. This is why Kirk the Bank Barnes says, listen, I'm borrowing money, but I don't want to pay the bank all of that money. We're going to pay the bank about 75% less interest. This is why Kurt's on the program. all right, so that he can get equity cheaper and faster. Wow. You don't have to pay all of that interest. And if it's 6%, folks, wow, look at this. 6%, $500,000, you're going to pay back $579,190. You're going to pay back more in interest than you borrowed in principal, which makes the total interest paid as a percentage of principal 115.838%. If you are on the island of Bermuda, oh my goodness, there are a bunch of 7% loans there. Now you're going to pay back 139%, making a $500,000 loan $697,543 in interest paid over 30 years. So if you don't want to pay all of that, folks, there's a way to understand how not to. Okay. And we're going to get into some of those things today. Here's what you need to understand about a $300,000 loan at 4.25%. Watch this. $300,000 at 4.25%. The very first month, you're going to pay $1,062.50 in interest on that loan, while only $413 goes to principal. Out of all of that money, okay, $1,475, only $413 of that money goes to principal. The rest of that money, over $1,000, goes to interest. So in the first year, you're going to pay back $12,000 of your hard-earned money. $12,652 goes to interest in the first year. Over the first 10 years, okay, the total in the first 10 years is $115,428. $115,000 just in interest alone. Folks, how in the world are people on the internet telling us that these are low interest loans, low cost loans? They're not. In the first 10 years, you're going to pay $61,670 towards the principal. That means paying the loan back. You're going to pay $61,670 to pay the loan back. That's how much goes on the loan. $115,428 goes on interest. So in the first year, in the first 10 years, this is how much is paid out. $177,098. $177,000. You've already paid back. You already paid out over half the money you borrowed. And you're only 10 years in, and $115,000 of that went to interest. Didn't even help you. So folks, this is the lies that we hear, and we need to understand the truth of the matter, that the internet information that we're receiving, that this is a low-cost loan, is not true. Now, let's understand what's really going on behind these loans. I'm going to teach you this, and then we're going to get into some other things that we've been told that are not true. The borrower's right to prepay. All right. Here we're going to go over the prepayment, P in the P.I.L.L method, which stands for prepayment of principal amounts. First of all, you have to know, we got this, somebody asked us this on Friday. Practically, I don't know of any residential loans in America that does not include this statement. I don't know of any residential loans in America that does not include the borrower's right to prepay. There may be, but I've never seen it in 16 years. So if you know someone, or if you have a loan that does not include this, I'd like to know it. Raise your hand, come to the stage, and help us out. But in 16 years, I've never seen it. Here's the borrower's right to prepay, and it says, I have the right to make payments of principal at any time before they are due. A payment of principal only is known as a prepayment. Okay? Prepayment of principal. Okay? When I make a prepayment, I will tell the note holder in writing that I am doing so. Now, there are several ways to inform the bank that you're making a prepayment. Just focus on the ways that your bank likes to be informed and follow those directions, and you'll be perfectly fine. Now, listen to this part. You can make a full prepayment or partial prepayments. Now, what is a full prepayment? A full prepayment means you can pay off the loan you can pay it off. Just write a check and pay the whole loan off. I don't recommend it, but you can make a full prepayment, or you can make partial prepayments. You can cut that thing up into smaller pieces, smaller chunks, and pay off smaller chunks. You don't have to pay off the whole thing. You can pay off smaller chunks of the loan. All right. And you can do that without paying any prepayment charge. Oh my goodness. Isn't this great? All right. Now, why is that important? Listen to the third part. And this is where it gets interesting. Okay. This is where it gets interesting. The note holder will use all of my prepayments to reduce the amount of principal that I owe under this note. If you look at your payments right now, if you pull out your amortization schedule, if you pull out your statement from the bank right now, you will see that a certain amount of your money goes to principal and a certain amount of your money goes to interest. But when you make a prepayment, all of your money goes to principal. None of it goes to interest. None. Zero. Zilch. Yeah, there's ways to give the bank back their money that doesn't cost you a dime extra. And that's what we're talking about today. How to get that equity for a lot cheaper at the right time in the right amounts. Okay, so listen to the rest of it. If you make a partial prepayment, there will be no changes in the due date or in the amount of my monthly payments. So people ask me, if I pay extra, do I pay next month? Well, no, the due date stays the same. If I pay extra, let's see, does it change my monthly payment? Nope, your payment stays the same. But well, then what's the benefit? Well, if you're supposed to pay 360 payments, that's 30 years worth. How would you like to pay 120 payments or less? 120 is just 10 years. How to be able to pay off in 10 years or 8 years or 7 years or even 9 years instead of 30 years. What we're doing here, folks, is learning how to pay back the bank's money by paying them a lot less interest. Now, if you want to learn how to read an amortization schedule, I need you to put a number 9 in the chat right now. Number 9 in the chat. Learn how to read an amortization schedule so you can learn how to beat the bank at their own game. Oh, Credit God is putting the number 9. Darlene's putting number 9. No, shit. So putting a 9 in there again. Oh my goodness. Woo wee. Look at all the 9s coming in. Online, in Clubhouse. I want to learn how to read this. If you want to, but you got to see it. You got to see it online. So make sure you're going to watch it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, or LinkedIn so that you can actually see these numbers and learn how to read an amortization schedule, okay? Because by not knowing how to read it, the bank is taking advantage of us because we don't know how to read it. So let's put an amortization schedule on the screen right now. Here's what I'm looking at, okay? A $200,000 mortgage at 6%. Why 6%? Because these loans are over 6% now. How would you like to take advantage of a 6% loan instead of a 6% loan taking advantage of you? Are you ready, folks? Here we go. Here's what the bank wants on a $200,000 loan at 6%. Here's what the bank is looking for over 30 years. $231,676. Oh, that's more money than you borrowed in principal. And they want that in interest. Guess what? You do not have to pay that. Okay. So when people are telling you, watch out for these mortgages because you have to pay interest. Well, you don't have to pay that. Well, that's a lie already. We just read there's a way to give the bank back their money and not give them the interest. It's written in the contract. And people say, well, you can't trust that contract. Well, yes, you can. Okay. You can trust the contract. You know how I know you can trust it? Here's how I know you can trust it. Miss 3 payments and see what happens. They're going to go back to their contract. You miss 3 payments. Somebody's going to put a sticker up on your door and put your stuff outside. Okay. And you will be removed from that house. It's not yours until you pay it off, folks. It's the bank's. I don't care if they call you a home owner. You're a home buyer until the loan is paid off. So I'm trying to tell you right now that the contract is strong on their side. Guess what? It's just as strong on your side. And we're going to teach you how to use that for your benefit. Come on! Use it for your benefit. Don't give them all that money. All right? Because if you do it this way, you got to pay them $431,676. You borrowed $200,000. They want you to pay back $431,000. Folks, that's one house for you and one house for the bank. Anybody interested in that? One house for you, one house for the bank? I'm not. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 115.838%. Wow. Wow. Folks, it's 6 minutes past. We've been in here a whole hour. Okay. So I'm going to take a quick break right now. We're in the mortgage syndicate this morning. The P.I.L.L Method Club is in the mortgage syndicate. We're talking about how to pay off mortgages in 7 years. Okay. And we're also our focus this morning is beware of internet financial advice because it ain't good for you. Okay. Someone just recently heard about what we're doing and took advantage of it. Not just Kirk the Bank Barnes. Okay. He's internet famous already, but there's somebody else who is internet famous as well, who took advantage of this program. And I'm not going to introduce him to you. We're just going to play the video right now and then talk about who it is later. Let's play the video. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and our team created the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system ever created. At our recent seminar in Nashville, Tennessee, the keynote speech was delivered by the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. E.T., as he's also known, mentioned he paid off his mortgage in 4 years using the P.I.L.L Method. I invite you to watch and listen.
Listen to me, y'all. One of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Did you hear that? No mortgage, no stress. If you would like to become debt and mortgage free within an average of 7 to 9 years by cutting your interest costs by up to 75%, go to pillmethod.com and request a savings and earnings report today. How do you request a savings and earnings report? Just go to my link up above. Click on that 10K card, ice10k.com, and you'll see a button there that says get a savings and earnings report. Fill out all the information, follow the instructions, and then they will let you into our financial form. When you put your debt in there, the credit cards, the student loans, the average family has over 13 different debts. Leave nothing out. You will find out that the average family pays off all of their debt, including their student loans and mortgages, in an average of 7 to 9 years. How is that happening, Don? Do I need more money? No. We're going to use your current budget. Do I need to refinance to do it? No. We're going to use your current loan configuration. Do I need to change banks? Again, no. We're going to keep everything at the same bank. Well, how do you do it? We're going to use the rules that are written that we already read. You have the right to pay the loan off faster and cheaper. Okay. So what we're going to do is show you how to pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible. When you do that, when you pay a lot less interest, more of the money that you already have goes to principal. Folks, does that make sense? See, right now, when you on these loans, if I do the math, I put it on the screen right now. The one that we're talking about right now, this loan that I had on there before, about 80%, almost 80% of your money goes to interest in the first few years. How would you like to turn that around? Where over 80% goes to your principal and 20% goes to interest. Listen, folks, it's just math. It's not magic. We're going to show you how to save at the same rate the bank is charging you. So if you have the same budget, but a lot less of your money goes to interest, that means more of your money goes to principal. You take control of the loan. Oh my goodness. We're going to get into this right now. So folks, go ahead, get your savings and earnings report today. Okay. Remember, go to the button above ice10k.com. and click on get a savings and earnings report. And you'll also see a button there that says get my book. Get the book. It will help you to understand what's going on. And it's written so that your kids, that your school age children can understand this. We're in the situation we're in because nobody taught us when we were younger. Get the book, if not for yourself, so you can start teaching it to your children. Come on, folks. Let's get that done. All right, folks, we're back. And we're going to get into this amortization schedule right now. So if you're looking at this, you want to be able to see what's happening here. So we got we don't want to give the bank all of that money. We don't want to turn a 6% loan into 115.838%. Do we? No, we do not. All right. So let's learn how to read an amortization schedule. I have an amortization schedule up on the screen right now, but this one is special. Okay. Now the amortization schedule you would get from your bank has 3 columns. It has a principal column. It has an interest column. Okay. And it has a principal balance column. We're adding to this cumulative principal and cumulative interest so that we can add up how much principal is paid over time and how much interest is paid over time. And when you actually see the numbers, we're going to show you what the interest consumption is. That's what I call it in my book, interest consumption. Okay. So if you don't pay attention to interest consumption, you're paying money to somebody that you don't have to pay. And I mean a lot of it. And I don't care if you're doing well. You could be very financially well off. Even the financially well off. The average family has 13 different debts, and they're paying 35 to 39% of their take-home pay on interest. Look who just popped into the room, okay? Because if I don't make him a moderator in 10 seconds, he's going to leave. What's going on, 10K?
You got my profile mixed up with a Brew profile, baby. You got me mixed up with someone else.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just woke up. Taking a nice lazy Sunday.
All right, man. Good.
What's up? I'm here to support, man.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you, 10K. Listen, can you introduce yourself right quick and tell the folks why the 10K card that I have above my head is so powerful?
Guys, if you want to walk around the planet being a secret, you don't need a 10K card. If you do not want to be a success, you do not need a 10K card. But if you have skills and services that you can offer others and help them solve their problem, you want to let people know who you are and what you do. And one of the best ways of doing that is by using a digital business card. So that's what we provide, guys. When you click on the link at the top that says the P.I.L.L method, you're going to see everything that Don Daniel is involved in. You'll find his book, you'll find the savings and earnings report, his website, his social media. So if he can do it for himself and his family, imagine what you can do for you and yours. So guys, get your life together if you don't already have a 10K card. and take action today. Hit me up in the back channel. But outside that done, I'm here to support you, man. Back to you.
Thank you,
Shout out to
sir.
the rest of the family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Listen, folks, we got 45 people in here. We've got 11 shares. Now, I know you've been glued to the screen and you've been watching all this and taking all of this in. But I need your help today. I could use your help. Would you please help get the information out so other people can see what you're seeing? Go ahead and share the room. Let's get it up to 25 shares. Keep sharing it, folks, until we get up to 25 while I go over what's going on here. Okay? So now let's learn
No, Don, let's do this again.
Okay, go ahead.
Clubhouse was designed not for the entitled. Clubhouse was designed for people who are hungry to move forward. Clubhouse was designed for the generous. Clubhouse was designed for people who actually want to make the others life better. See, if you're in this audience or you're on the stage and you're not sharing the room, you should be a goddamn ashamed of yourself. There's 45 people in the room and 15 shares. That kind of suck. If I was you, Don, I wouldn't give not one goddamn information until we got to 25. Guys, there's 45 people in the room. Share the room. 21. Thank you. 4 more. Back to you, Don.
All right, folks, listen, we're going to get it deep into this thing right now. And any of the moderators on stage can break in at any time, interrupt me, because if I say something that resonates with you and you can add more value to what I'm saying, please chime in. We need everybody's support in getting this thing done. All right, we're at 24 shares already. I guess we just need one more share, and it gets us there. Oh man, we just broke 25. We're at 26. Oh, I'm excited now.
Don, I'm gonna touch. Yep. I'm gonna touch on something, Don. You see, here's the thing.
Yes.
It's not that we all don't know what needs to be done to be successful. It's not like we don't know what we can do to push our family ahead. Sometimes you just need an accountability buddy. And for everyone that's in the audience that got offended, that was my intention, to offend you. For those in the audience who actually took action, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. That's the only way you can move yourself forward with you and your family. Do the things that's necessary to help and support others, all right? So shout out to the entire room. Now we're over 30. That's what I'm talking about. Back to you, Don.
Thank you very much, 10K. Listen, folks, I need you to watch this screen right now, and let's take a look at what's happening here. On this very first payment, $199.10 goes to the principal. The payment is $1,199.10. Look how much actually pays down the loan. $199.10. Look how much goes to interest. $1,000. Okay. If you think that's not fair, please put not fair in the chat. Put not fair in the chat if you think that's not fair. Not fair right now. Put it in there. Put it in the chat. Not fair. Liza says not fair. Who else says not fair? 10K says laughing. Not fair. All right. Darlene says not fair. Not fair that we pay all of that money out and only $199.10 goes to principal and $1,000 goes to interest. Not fair. Not fair, not fair, not fair. So what are we doing here, folks? I need you to watch this right now. Watch this. So when we pay that $199.10, $199 is subtracted from the $200,000 that we owe. It leaves us with $199,800.90. Valerie online says not fair. Okay. Now, the bank uses that principal balance on line 1 to tell us how much interest we pay on line 2. So remember this, the principal balance on any line, the bank uses that to tell you how much interest you owe on the next line. So only look at the next line. Whatever principal balance you're on, look at the next line to see what to do. You don't even have to do math. Just look at the amortization schedule. Look at the next line and you'll see what happens. So on the next line, on line number 2, look here, $200.10 goes to principal. And our interest goes all the way down to $999. Wow, wow, wow. Look at this. $200 goes to principal. $9.99 goes to interest. So our payment stays the same. Our payment stays the same. Folks, if you have any questions about this process, please raise your hand, come to the stage. I listen, I'll teach anybody this, especially the party hats. Okay, Miss Lisa, congratulations, Miss Lisa, for being here. You've chosen to be here. On every place else you could have been, you are here in your first week on Clubhouse. You're in this room. We appreciate you. Miss Lisa, thank you for being here right now. Okay, so folks, raise your hand if you want to come to the stage and ask a question. All right, our moderators are going to help bring you up. All right, so now we have $200 going to principal, $9.99 going to interest, and now we owe $199,600.80. So folks, when we pay that, guess what? We just drop down to payment number 3, don't we? So now you're seeing how it works, how the bank keeps your payment the same. Every month, a little less goes to interest, so a little more can go to principal. How can we accelerate the process? Now, let's learn how to read this thing. All right? So if we pay, let's say we're making a mortgage payment on line 1. All right, let's call it January. I just made January's payment of $1,199.10. If I'm looking at this amortization schedule, I can see February's principal payment. Based on what we read a little while ago, I'm looking at the principal payment for February. Do I have to wait till February to give the bank that $200.10, according to what we read just a little while ago? All right. Answer is no. If we have it, we can give the bank that $200.10 early. And based on what we read, all of it will go to principal. So what happens? We're paid down to line 2 already. If we're paid down to line 2 in January, just by giving the bank that $200.10 early, our next mortgage payment, remember what I said, whatever principal payment you're on, you go to the next line for your next payment. So if we're on line 2 already, our next mortgage payment for February is on line 3. February's payment is now on line 3. We just got rid of line 2 for $200.10, folks. $200.10, line 2 is gone. And what happens to that interest that was on line 2? What happens to that? Okay. The interest on line 2, the $9.99, is canceled. You don't have to pay it. You just eliminated $999 from your interest cost, overall interest cost, and you've eliminated one payment from your schedule. Instead of having 360 monthly payments, just because you gave the bank that $200.10 early, you now have 359 monthly payments. Does that look good to everybody? If it looks good to you, put a yes in the chat. Put a yes in the chat or online if that looks good to you. Put a yes in. All right? I need to see it. All right. All right. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at them now. They are coming in like nobody's business. And I saw somebody, Coach Gene Austin, in the building. Look, man. Coach, how you doing this morning?
I'm actually kind of tired. Had a late night giggle real estate event in Houston. So just kind of moving around. I said, man, let me jump in Don's room, make sure we can share some love and support each other, man. We got to keep that consistency going. But I'm doing good, brother. Doing good.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Listen, man, I talked to my wife and I told her that you had something coming up on the 25th, and I want to be in Houston for that. So I'm making arrangements to be there. Will you please tell us who you are and what you do and what's happening on the 25th and why we should be interested?
Yes, indeed. Shout out to everybody on stage too. Heroes, Romani, my guy 10K, what's good? Shout out to everybody in the audience, because if we was in here by ourselves, it'd be kind of lonely just talking to ourselves. But I'm Coach John Austin, CEO of Austin Business Strategies. I've got a couple other brands. I don't bring them on Clubhouse a lot. Real estate's one, business acquisition is another. We focus on mainly what you guys hear me talk about here is our Bank Ready brand. And in essence, we focus heavily on women in business, our minority business counterparts, um, to make certain that we're structured properly, we have the right plan in place, and we are credentialed properly. Without those business certifications, you're not playing in the right field. It's like, the baseball playoffs are going on over here and you're in the sandlot. You're not playing in the right field. So we make sure you're structured properly, you're in the right field, you're positioned properly for that, right? We look at what you're trying to do and should you start from scratch or should you buy an existing business? That's why the awesome business strategies is so important. Planning is one thing, but the right strategy can save you so much time and money. It's insane. What Don was talking about on the 25th, the Greater Houston Procurement Forum happens every month, last Tuesday of the month. And the importance of that is this: we can be on Clubhouse. I love it. I love it. It's a great platform, right? But taking it off app, taking it in the real world. And it's the most impactful but non-intimidating business space I've ever been a part. As a procurement forum, if you guys work for your Fortune 500 companies, you have a purchasing and procurement department. Basically, all that is, those are the check writers for every good and every service that comes into a company. So take that to a broader scale. Every good or service, every business that happens in a city, a county, or a state goes through their procurement department. That's where government contracting and private contracting for small businesses especially happens. So in Houston on the 25th, 7:30 a.m. to about 11, NASA, Port of Houston, Metro, all the affordable housing programs, everything, construction, business is going to be in that room. And they highlight certain companies. So NASA is going to be one of those companies they'll be highlighting. And it's like, well, Coach, what does that have to do with me? Well, as a small business owner, you want to see how these big companies are working with you. So from food trucks to culinary to uniforms to construction, they're going to be there speaking about their expansions and programs and projects. And you as a small business owner, you want to sit in the room to see where do you fit in and how you fit in. And quite frankly, they give you the roadmap. And you'll see how Bank Ready is applied to that space so that you can get yourself involved with that, get yourself involved with these projects. And seven-figure, eight-figure contracts are kind of norm. So I don't want us looking at small crumbs anymore. I want us to really look at how business is happening and how we can truly scale in a recession. You won't hear recession in that room, by the way. But long story short, Don, that's what we do. We make sure our businesses, our small business, especially our women in business, are in position to take advantage of that massive impact in the marketplace. You won't find it anywhere else, period. And once you go there, then you can see how can I take what I'm doing on Clubhouse or Instagram or whatever and build my brand there, catalog it there, but in real time, grow and scale in real time where you need to be and be efficiently and be profitable. So Don, I appreciate it. But that's what we'll be in the morning. We'll have clients from Houston and abroad coming down, seeing what we can do to make things grow for them. And after it's over, we'll have a little powwow at lunch. And then later on that night, I'm going to be teaching how Bank Creative works for you on Zoom. So it should be pretty cool.
So John, if I'm in the room, if I'm in the room, do you mean that there might be something I might be able to add to the conversation with my business, and that there could be some possible collaboration going on? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, yeah. What we don't realize is that these are big companies, right? And I say big because they got a big pocketbook. They've grown, they've scaled, but they do a lot of work in the small business community because a lot of small business help them do what they do. So if they don't know your service even exists, how will they know to even work with you? There's people that do insurance. There's people that do all types of different work. And when you find and you hear that need, or just have a conversation with them, you'll figure out what they have and don't have, and you can. And the other part of it, you never would know if you're never in the room. You never know because it may be a collaboration with Metro. They may not have, or it may be a conversation with the Houston 3 certification on affordable housing. You never know who needs what you have until you're there to really see it for yourself.
John, one last thing.
Yes, sir.
All right, to to prove that out, because we've heard stories. I listen to podcasts, and I hear how certain people were in the room at the right time, and they went out, and we hear these big success stories on how they got a huge contract. Do you have any personal experience that you can share with us?
Oh gosh, I don't know if we got no much time, but I'll give you like top 2%, right? Um, Anything I say and do is from personal experience. I'm teaching y'all what I've done, and really what you're getting from me is kind of the cherry on top, because I've been doing this since 2005, 2006. I got my first certification in '06, and that's the room that I've been in. Still to this day, they're screaming for women and minorities to be in these spaces because they have a certain mandate to meet, right? So, meaning if there's a $50 million project, they will break down the project by industry, what's called a NAICS code, but they break them down by codes, meaning if they've got a $50 million construction project, there may be there's opportunity for, say, an event planner to plan the golf tournament. There's an opportunity for culinary, for someone to come in and actually do the street cleaning, the landscaping, the gardening, the drywall, the roofing. There's so many different, and again, the project manager breaks all this down. So when you're seeing these projects broken down to the dime, right, you see what, based on what you do and what your team does, what your colleagues do, where you fall in. There was one young lady at the University of Houston event in real time. She stood up after they were breaking these projects down. Now, this is Vaughn Construction, Austin Commercial, major architectural firms, da da da. And she stood up, she's about 29, and she said, "What do y'all see as a need for marketing and branding for these small businesses coming to work with you?" And everyone on that stage, CEO, CFO, CIO, all eyes got big. They're like, "Oh, yes, we need to make sure they've got the right website, the right email, the right branding, because we want to take you seriously. But if you come in here with a Gmail and a Yahoo," they just went off. And everybody's like, "Wait." And this young lady had about 25 people in line to talk to her because she helped to legitimize their brands. And was a major barrier. If she wouldn't have asked that question in real time, these multi-million dollar firms would not have affirmed her position as a branding expert. And there you go. Another case in point. There's construction opportunities that occur. I have a lot of realtors, brokers that I work with on a daily here in Houston. All of them own their own homes. All of them run their own brokerages. They are women led firms and women led construction companies. They're looking for women in construction to work with in their diversity and equity positions, their mandated positions, even corporate internal positions. So all of my clients that are women that were in that room are now conversating with these large commercial firms, these large construction firms, to see what drywall, HVAC, whatever that's needed. And now they're having negotiations on not what is the size of the project, but their capacity and capability. So we're getting into the minutia of that work. So we do it in real time, and I'm noticing, just being new to social media, that's lacking. We have a lot of, like you said, a lot of hyperbole, a lot of fluff, and you hear podcasts. But what I'm asking people on podcasts is, what are you doing like yesterday? What are you doing last week? What are you doing tomorrow? And if you're not doing it in real time, the podcasts sound great and it's cool. But what I did last night was attend a gala where you had Master P was there speaking in real time. The owner of the head of the event flew him down. He spoke to us. He flew back out. But you had Kristen Nagal, Jay Bradley, all these guys that are realtors, developers in Houston, Marcus Bowers, all those guys in real time speaking to the crowds, and they're having real conversations about growing and scaling their businesses and in real estate and in other industries out there. So there's a lot going on in real time. So to the room, even be careful with the hype, be careful with just people that say things, because really in real time, those people don't exist in those rooms. We don't see them. I don't see them. So I really don't give a lot of credibility to it, because if you're not speaking on it, and people that may be in the comments or here, there, whatever, it's really hyperbole. So I almost delete comments that are negative. I delete hyperbole that's negative, because if I don't see you in real time and other people don't see you in real time, you don't matter. And in the marketplace, social media is great, but if that social media don't meet real life media, you don't matter. Eric Thomas was here this weekend too. If you didn't matter in real time, you don't matter on the internet. and the internet can cancel you in a heartbeat. Because right now in life, I'm noticing real life and social media are getting closer and closer together. So you might want to get out here and do it in real time, folks, because we are, and a lot of people are as well. So appreciate that, Don.
Certainly, Coach Austin. That we got people watching us online right now. They can't see you.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
if you would please tell them how people can get a hold of you if they like what they hear. How can they get a hold of you right now so that you can help them to level up? Because listen, folks, I have seen his information. Okay, and if you will, because one of the lies that we're combating today about beware of internet advice, okay, is how people tell you how you can get into the procurement without giving you all the details. Okay, so Coach Austin has a whole program. It's like plug and play. It says, here's all the stuff. You just answer the questions. And I'll work with you to make you bank ready so that you can look good for these people, so you put yourself in a position to get some of that money and get that business. Okay, he can help you to get there. So Coach Austin, how can they get a hold of you if they want to get involved?
We have everything located on our website. We just revamped the site about probably a week ago, honestly. TheCoachAustin.com, TheCoachAustin.com. We just revamped it. We've got a whole media ticker across the top, just like you want CNBC or CNN. You got the stock ticker on the top. We got a news ticker on the top. We're curating our own news. We want to be our own small business news outlet, basically. So if you got on the Fox News or whatever to get your news, come to us first. We're putting out a lot of relevant data. So we have an AI app even that combs the internet and pulls in all the relevant news. It's the first time I'm actually speak on this in person because we just got it out there. But all the relevant news that small business owners need to see, right, is on our news page. So go to thecoachaustin.com, check it out. You can book a consultation with me because I move around a lot. I'm never really mobile, like in one spot. I'm very mobile. So if you want to talk to me one-on-one, book a consultation. The front part of my website is a link to our class. It's a $97 class. I'm not trying to make a bag off of it. I just want to get as many people in a seat on Zoom so I can show you in real time what this looks like, what procurement looks like, and how tangible it is for just a layperson to do. We're partnering with multiple banks, Black-owned banks, women-owned banks. And I say partner, I really partner. They want to brand partner with us because they're losing money because people aren't bank ready. They're not ready for the bank. So they'll say, go talk to coach first, then come to me. If you come to the procurement forum, there's a branch manager, regional vice president of the business department for Citibank. For the last 3 meetings, she'll bring people, like hand deliver people to me. Talk to him first, then come to me. I get clientele just showing up because now she sees what Bank Ready is about and what we do. And for a bank to say, hey, and they're physically endorsing what we're doing, wait to see what we do in 2023. So go to thecoachaustin.com, check out the site. We've got books that we've written. We've got grants that are available there in our forum. They're free grants. See what applies to you. Go for it. That website is probably the most impactful business strategy site on the planet. We are the premier business strategy firm globally at this point. We're advising, say, like the Morgan Stanleys and other hedge funds out there on how to deal with small business. And we're a bridge from where we are, boots on the ground, to where the banks are over there. They have a hard time talking to us, but we figured this thing out. So if you're trying to get your business off the ground, trying to get the strategy together, invest in what we're doing because it works, and put yourself in position to win in real time. And we collapse time because we make it to where you don't have to figure this thing out on your own. Tell us what you need, like like Don said. Answer the questions. Those questions have created over the last 11 years. I've figured this thing out, and I've got the matrix kind of in my hand. So allow us to work with you and get you where you need to be. It's all about positioning, and once you're in the right position, hey, the rest is yours. So appreciate that, Don. I really do.
You're so welcome. Be bank ready, folks. You can be bank ready. You can be business ready. You can have a business plan. It's all part of the whole package. I absolutely love it. Thank you very much, Coach. So, folks, back to what we were talking about. See, this is what I mean by getting good information instead of bad information on the internet. Get somebody who's got recent receipts, okay? Not something that they're talking about that happened to them 10 years ago, but something that's happened currently. Somebody that you can talk to. And I'm going to go to Houston so I can see him in person and meet a whole bunch of other people in the room. I'm going to be there. All right. That's my plan. So folks, we're back here learning how to read an amortization schedule. Here we go. So we're going to pay that $200 early and not wait till February. We're going to kill $999 worth of interest by doing that. Right. Okay. So here's what happens next. What if we did this? What if we made the payment on January 1st, all right, and took a look at the next 3 principal payments? You see, you attack a loan with the principal payments. I got Dean Shoup sitting in the audience. Dean, listen, if you're hearing me, if you want to raise your hand and come up to the stage, please feel free to do so, and we'll bring you up. All right. So listen, we got $200.10, $201.10, $202.10, folks. That's $603.30. If that's prepaid, okay, pay it early. Guess what? You eliminate 3 mortgage payments with $600. Okay, $603, and you eliminate nearly $3,000 in interest you never have to pay. Oh my goodness. If you are excited about that information, I just need you to put some number 9s in the chat. Put some more 9s in the chat. Let's get some energy going in here. If you're excited about that, I got something else for you right now. Watch this. So if we did that, if we could knock off 3 interest payments we never have to make by taking $600 out of the bank, sitting in a bank account, making 1/10%. Do you know how long you have to sit $600 in the bank to make $3,000? Oh my goodness. It has to be in there like forever. But you could take $300 out, okay? And put it here and knock off 3 payments you never have to make and save nearly $3,000 in interest. Oh my goodness. All right. Good morning to you, Miss Crystal. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Don. Good morning, everyone. I'm well, thank you. Happy Sunday.
All right. Listen, Miss Crystal, I'm going to come back to you in a little bit. I want to finish this presentation right here, this little bit, and then we're going to come back to you because you did something very exciting not too long ago, and I want to talk about it. Okay. So, folks, here's what we're talking about. Here is an opportunity for you to learn how to save money. Now, based on this, do you know right now, people are doing something that is very exciting. Okay? They're very exciting. What they're doing is they're getting involved in real estate. Okay? They're getting involved in real estate at this higher interest rates, at the 6% and the 7%. And what the experts are teaching right now is we don't care what happens here. You can refi. Okay, you can refi and figure out you can refi to a lower interest rate if you need to. What? Yeah. That's when the interest rates drop, refi to a lower interest rate. Let me show you something that's going on with that. Can I show you? Can I show you what happens? Just, because if you just ask yourself the question, if your bank, do you realize, oh my gosh, do you realize even your bank, when the interest rates drop, will ask you, do you want to refinance and save money? You know what? There are people out in the audience right now that are in business. Okay. And you have been in business for a while, and you have a long-term customer. Okay. You have a long-term customer. All right. And have you you've had a customer for like 5 years. Okay. Have you ever gone back to a customer and said, you know what, for the last 5 years, we've been charging you all this money and we're going to give you an opportunity to give you more service, but we're going to lower the amount that you pay. All right. We're going to save you money. Can you imagine a business doing that? Going back to a long-term customer and saying, you know what? You've been paying too much money. You need to pay less. I'm going to save you money now. On the same contract, I'm going to save you money. We would look at that and say, how in the world can that be? There's something wrong with that. But when your bank, who has you locked into a higher interest rate, asks you, do you want to refinance to save money? You jump on that thing with 2 feet and say yes. And I need you to ask yourself this question. If you, by refinancing, you're saving money, who has to be losing it? If you're saving money by refinancing, who has to be losing it? I'm going to show you some things right now. Okay. So this is another lie. So be ready for this now. Be ready for this. And I'm not saying there isn't ever a good time to refinance. There most certainly is, but it's not as often as you might think. And make people show you the numbers as to why it benefits you, not just give you some, like Coach says, hyperbole, not give you some something that sounds good, something that has to do with something that we've heard over and over again, and we just accept it to be true. I need you to see this. Okay. Now, we're going to take a look at let me see here, this some of my slides are out of sequence. Refi fantasy, and let me go over to here. All right, I gotta find it, folks, sorry. Okay, here we go. Watch this. Okay, we're going to show you what a refi will do. What a refi will do. All right. So remember that $200,000 principal we were talking about, the 200,000 at 6%. All right. What if you were offered? What if you were offered to refinance at 3%? Okay. Would you take it? Would you take that? All right.
Yep.
Listen, if you have a $200,000 loan at 6% and the bank is offering you to refinance at 3%, rolling in the closing cost, should I take it? Yes or no? Yes or no? Most people would just jump on that because I don't have to take money out of my pocket to get it. Oh my goodness. Look what we have in the room today. All right. All right. So, watch this now. Uncle Alvin, thank you for being here. Donna, I see you in there. I see you sneaking in the room. All right. You got to tell me that you're in the room because I'm watching another screen. Watch what we've got going on here. All right. I want you to see this. Okay. If you refinance, most people refinance after 5 to 7 years. Okay. Watch this. And we just paid what, about $5,000 for this refinance. Now I need you to remember what happened when we did this before. Now watch what happens in the first year of this loan. The first year of this loan, you pay it down by $2,456. But how much interest do you pay in the first year? $11,933.19. What happens after 24 months or 2 years? You pay it down by $5,000, all right? And it costs $23,714 in interest. That's in the first 2 years, okay? Now, in the first 7 years, you pay this thing down by $20,721, but it costs $80,000 in interest to do that, and you still owe $179,000. Now it's time to refi. Okay. After you've paid $80,000 in interest, because no one is paying attention to the interest cost on these loans. Nobody is. Okay. So now let's take a look at that. $179,000 we're going to refinance. We're going to add $5,000 in closing fees, and that's being conservative. Do you realize that the average closing costs on these loans, Crystal, average closing cost on these loans these days, is it closer to, is it like $8,000 or $10,000?
They've all been well into five figures, all of them. Well, and also because it's October and property taxes are due, so they have to pay the full 12 months as opposed to the prorated amount. So that plays a part as well.
Miss Crystal, how do you know what you know? You need to tell the folks who you are and what you do and why I can ask you that question.
Well, specific to that, I'm a licensed escrow officer in the state of Texas, and I have been for 5.5 years. And literally every day, I sit down with people to refinance their loans. And in many instances, I've had to reach out to Mr. Don to connect him with some of my clients because they really did not want to refinance. They had concerns about the cost, as well as going back into a longer mortgage because some of them were either free and clear or almost free and clear. So imagine having to go back into $100,000 loan when your house is almost paid off. But that's really how I know what I know. I literally have to research this every day. I look at mortgages every day. I look at circumstances that people are in, and I kind of gauge how people get the rates they get, or how they end up with closing costs. And everything is negotiable. I can always tell when people don't know how to negotiate those closing costs.
Ms. Crystal, do you see how some people are taken advantage of in situations like this because they don't know what people are learning here?
Absolutely. My last clients that I connected you with did not know. And I think they actually decided to move forward for some interesting reasons. But that is absolutely the reason, a lack of education. And I do end up spending an additional 20 to 30 minutes sometimes in a closing just educating people because I'm independent. So I always let people understand that I'm a disinterested third party. It's not beneficial to me for the lender nor the title company to get anything extra out of them. But people, what I do notice now, right, Mr. Don, is that every single loan I have refinanced since September has had credit card debt rolled into their payoffs. Every single one of them, no matter the age of the person. I've seen people early 20s. I've even started to see a spike in reverse mortgages. And oddly enough, these elders know what they're doing. Years ago, people didn't really understand what they were getting into with reverse mortgages, and it was a really bad deal. But a lot of people understand what they're doing, and they just need money. Their houses have been paid off for years. And so just due to current circumstances, a lot of people suffer from the pandemic, and they're just taking whatever measures they need to stay, vibrant in this economy.
All right, folks. But even in that, you can set yourself up so that you can take advantage of the situation instead of letting the situation take advantage of you. Check in with the P.I.L.L method so we can help you put yourself in a better light. Look at this thing. We got $179,000 here. Okay. We're going to add just $5,000 to the closing fees. So now we have $184,278.87 at 3% for 30 years. And the new payment now is $776.93. And you're smiling. You are smiling because I got a $776 payment, but you forgot something, that you had a 30-year mortgage. You paid off down to 23, and then you added 7 more years back. So now you have a 37-year mortgage. You went from 30 to 37. Okay. And guess what's going to happen, folks? 5 to 7 years from now, that family's going to refinance again. Now they have a 42-year mortgage. And watch this. Okay. So $184,000. The interest paid on that over 30 years is going to be another $95,000. They've already paid $80,000. And now the bank wants them to pay an additional $95,000. Total repaid $279,000 now. All right. But the interest cost, total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 51%. 51%. Now I need you to watch something. I need you to take a look at the math here. Here's the math. I have my old payment was $1199.10. My new payment is $776.93. That is a $422 savings. And the person who sold this has said, now let's figure out how you're going to get your $5,000 back. Meaning, if you take the $422.17 and divide it into the $5,000 closing fee, that tells you how long you have to stay in this loan to recoup your closing costs. Yeah, that's exactly the wrong way to do it. Let me show you the right way. Okay? Because you put $5,000, because you added $5,000 to your loan, you have to pay back the first $5,000 to get back to the $178,000 you were when you refinanced. So in 4 months, we're just paying back the first $5,000. In 4 months, you've only paid back $1,268 of the $5,000, and it cost you $1,800 in interest. In 7 months, you pay back $2,200 of the refinance fee, and it cost you $3,000. And this is at 3%. In month 10, look, you've only paid back $3,000. You haven't even paid back the whole $5,000, and you've already paid $4,571.15 in interest on a $3,000 loan. Folks, if your credit union offered you this loan saying, oh, we got $3,000 for you, $3,100 for you, and pay it back in 10 months, but all you have to pay us is the money we lent you and an additional $4,500, you would never sign up for that loan. But people who refinance sign up for this loan every single day. Okay, by the time we've paid back the $5,000, folks, it takes 16 months to pay it back at an interest cost of $7,275.16. So when you add up the $51,5572 plus the $7,000 in interest, that refinance actually costs $12,430.88, and it takes 16 months to get you back to where you were before. Oh my goodness. Listen, folks, we've got 3 minutes left. All right. And I want to introduce Uncle Alvin here. Uncle Al, how you doing this morning? Because, sometimes he hops in and says hi to us. And we're going to be back in hopefully be back in that Texas area where he is pretty soon. When you're ready, Uncle Al, hop back in and introduce yourself to the folks. All right. So, folks, here's what I need you to see what's going on here. I'm going to show you one last example. Here's another thing that you have been told. All right. It is good to refinance, but you haven't been told about the money. Here's another thing we've been told. Make the largest down payment on the loan you can. Have you been told that? If you've been told make the largest down payment on a loan that you can, put a yes in the chat. Go ahead and listen and share this room out a few more times, okay? Put a yes in the chat if you've been told put a large down payment down. Let me show you something about down payments now that you've learned how to read an amortization schedule, okay? So a local businessman who used to live across the street from me was building a $400,000 house, okay? And he asked me, he says, now, I put enough down to get the loan, all right? I'm okay with that. But I have an additional $100,000. Should I put that $100,000 as a down payment so that I will have a $300,000 loan for 30 years at 3% instead of a $400,000 loan? This is what I told him. I told him you need the $400,000 loan for 30 years, not the $300,000 at 3%. That's what you need. Okay, this was a few years ago. All right. So when we compare the loans, because he's an engineer, and those engineers, they bring out their spreadsheets, and he did the comparison. He said, well, Don, here's what we've got. On the left side is the $400,000 loan. On the right side is the $300,000 loan. Look at the payment. On the $300,000 side, I've got $1,264. On the $400,000 side is $1,686. All right. The total amount of interest that the bank wants is on the $400,000 loan is $207,000. I cut that down to $155,000. So when you take a look at the total paid back, I'm still better off at the $300,000 loan. But here's what I showed him. The ROI on this thing for the bank is the same, 51%. 51%. That's how the bank makes their money on the percentages. So no matter if it's 3% at $100,000, the bank gets 51%. Watch what's going on with this number here. Because they did what they did, look at this, 207,000 minus the 155,000. He says over a 30-year period down, I'm going to say 51,779. Okay. I'm going to save that. I showed him this. Here's your $400,000 loan. Make the very first payment. And where's your $100,000, sir? He said, if I get the $400,000 loan, my $100,000 is still in the bank. If you wanted to, what could you do with that $100,000? What? Did I hear somebody out in the audience say, now apply the $100,000 to principal? Did I hear somebody say that? Oh, here we go. If I put that $100,000 on principal, look what happens. It brings me down to my payment I knock off 125 payments with that $100,000, and I save $110,000 right now in 1 month. Oh my gosh. And I still have a $300,000 loan. What just happened? Applying $100,000 as a prepayment instead of a down payment to your $400,000 mortgage will save you $110,000 right now. Okay. And at this point, he has 10 years and 3 months left. I mean, what? I'm sorry. The interest, he eliminates 10 years, 3 months off his payments in 1 month. He knocked 10 years off in 1 month with the same $100,000. Wow. And he has 19 years, 9 months left. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We're told to put it down as a down payment when we could use the same money as a prepayment and knock off all of that time and interest money. Continuing to use the P.I.L.L method. He became a client. Continuing to use the P.I.L.L method, he will pay the rest of the loan off in just 7 years. And how much interest will he pay in total? About $30,000. About $30,000. And folks, I became his new best friend. So listen, what are you going to do, folks? Are we going to continue to do what we've been doing? Are we going to level up and stop taking internet advice and get the good advice? Contact the P.I.L.L method today. All right. Let's hear that. We're out of time. We're going to let everybody online go. Let's get the last word from Dr. Eric Thomas, but hang out here on Clubhouse because we're going to be right back. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and our team created the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system ever created. At our recent seminar in Nashville, Tennessee, the keynote speech was delivered by the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. E.T., as he's also known, mentioned he paid off his mortgage in 4 years using the P.I.L.L method. I invite you to watch and listen.
Listen to me, y'all. One of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerve, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Did you hear that? No mortgage, no stress. If you would like to become debt and mortgage free within an average of 7 to 9 years by cutting your interest costs by up to 75%, go to pillmethod.com and request a savings and earnings report
today.